Know your place, boy. Mop the floor and stay out of the court's business. Officer Grayson's voice cracked through the grand hall, echoing off the marble walls. From his bench, Judge Whitaker smirked. Why is he even here during a hearing? This is a courtroom, not a janitor's closet. The laughter was sharp and hollow. But the janitor, Arthur Brooks, stood tall. Late 70s, silver hair, navy work shirt. His back was straight, his face unreadable. I'm here because I was subpoenaed, Arthur said calmly. This is about the property at 117th Street. That building is mine. Grayson laughed. The broom closet next to it? I own this building, Arthur repeated. The judge leaned forward. Mr. Brooks, unless you've mistaken a supply room for real estate, I suggest you leave. Arthur's voice didn't rise. You don't know who I am. The courtroom doors swung open. A clerk rushed in with a manila folder. Your Honor, this concerns Mr. Brooks and the property in question. Whitaker frowned. What property? 117th Street, she said, and 46 other parcels registered to the Brooks Trust, including this courthouse. The air shifted. The judge froze mid-page. Grayson's smugness faltered. Arthur just leaned on his mop. Grayson stepped closer. This is a mop, right? Arthur walked to the bench, placed a folded paper before the judge. That's a notarized document confirming I'm trustee of the Brooks Foundation and legal owner of this building. Silence. Even the ceiling fans seemed to pause. Grayson barked. This is a scam. Arrest him for fraud. The judge's voice sharpened. Mr. Brooks, this is a court of law. Provide proof or leave with your dignity intact. Arthur met his gaze. You subpoenaed me over land I've owned for 25 years. I respect the law, even if it doesn't respect me. Grayson sneered. Respect? You smell of bleach and floor wax. The crowd's mood shifted. Whispers replaced laughter. Arthur's voice stayed steady. How a man treats those he thinks are beneath him says everything about his value. Arthur returned to the bench with another envelope. Certified deeds, original liens, and a letter from your city manager, confirming the Brooks Foundation owns this courthouse, 5 city blocks, and a correctional facility. The judge hesitated, hand hovering over the envelope. Grayson jabbed a finger. Look at his hands, scarred and calloused. Those aren't billionaire hands. Arthur held them up. You're right. These hands built everything I own. I scrubbed floors, laid bricks, studied real estate law in a janitor's closet. You think a mop makes me worthless? You think this uniform hides my worth? The room went still. I earned every deed, every dollar, Arthur said. And I'm here to protect people like me, the ones you mock in silence. He turned to leave, then looked back at Grayson. You said I should know my place. This is my place. I built it. He dipped the mop in water and began to clean under Grayson's boots. The crowd stared. Years earlier, a cramped basement apartment in the East End. 38 years old, Arthur studied real estate law for beginners after a 14-hour shift. His daughter, Amara, slept in the corner. His first property was a decaying duplex bought with a small inheritance and a friend's co-signed loan. He fixed it himself, patching walls, rewiring circuits, scrubbing away years of neglect. One building became 2, then 3. Always working his day job, no one knew the janitor was building an empire. 25 years ago, Arthur quietly formed Brooks Trust Holdings. 15 properties, low-income housing, a warehouse, a storefront rented to a black-owned grocery. Profits reinvested. Rents kept fair. Arthur handled maintenance personally. 10 years ago, Amara, now a lawyer, begged him to reveal himself. Arthur refused. I'd rather be underestimated than faked respect. They created the Brooks Foundation, transferring all properties to it. Amara became trustee. Arthur kept mopping floors, the present, back in the courtroom. Arthur's mop slid across polished marble. He looked at the judge, who still hadn't opened the folder, and at Grayson, jaw tight. I started with nothing, Arthur said. No family name, just work and persistence. I stayed silent not for recognition, but for change. The quietest man in the room often makes the biggest decisions. Grayson, softer now, muttered, You think this uniform? Arthur cut in. This uniform bought half the city. and you're standing on my floor. From his back pocket, he drew a letter embossed with the gold seal of the city clerk. He stepped toward the bench and stopped. His eyes scanned the room, lingering on faces now etched with doubt and shame. A faint smile tugged at his lips. He held the letter aloft, but didn't hand it over. Some truths, Arthur said, don't need to be read to be known. The judge's hand hovered, trembling slightly. The clerk shifted uneasily. Grayson's eyes narrowed, searching for something, anything to shatter the silence. Arthur placed the letter flat on the bench and slid it forward, just out of the judge's reach. Before you touch it, he said, ask yourself, what happens if everything you've thought about me is wrong? The clock ticked loudly. No one moved. Arthur's hands rested on the mop handle. His gaze swept over the courtroom one last time, and then the judge's hand twitched toward the envelope again, as if gravity itself were drawing it forward. Grayson shifted his weight, his boots squeaking on the marble Arthur had just mopped. The sound was small, but in the hush of the room, it cracked like a gunshot. Go on, Your Honor, Arthur said softly. See the truth for yourself. Judge Whitaker's eyes locked with Arthur's. There was no arrogance now, only a measured caution. He pulled the envelope closer, sliding out a stack of documents. Certified deeds, government seals, signatures in blue ink, some decades old. Grayson leaned over the bench. These could be forged. They aren't, Arthur replied. Every document is cross-verified with city archives. Call the clerk. The clerk in the corner, still clutching the manila folder from earlier, nodded nervously. Your Honor, I already checked. It's legitimate. Every word. A ripple passed through the gallery. Phones appeared in quiet hands. People whispered names. Brooks Foundation owns the courthouse, the jail. Whitaker's jaw worked slowly. Why keep this hidden for so long? Arthur's voice was steady. Because wealth isn't power until it changes something for the people who need it. I've been using it quietly, funding housing, keeping rents fair, hiring those others wouldn't. Grayson scoffed. Charity. You could have done more by joining politics. Arthur took a step closer, his mop tapping the floor like a slow metronome. Politics is loud, but real change is quiet. Its roofs repaired before winter, meals delivered before hunger, court fees paid for those crushed by the system you serve. A murmur of approval rippled through the crowd. The judge glanced at Grayson. Officer enough. Grayson's jaw tightened. He's playing you. He's enough, Whitaker repeated, sharper this time. Arthur studied Grayson, his expression almost kind. I don't blame you for doubting me. You were taught to measure men by uniforms, not by what they've built. But you've been mopping the wrong floor, son. It's your own pride that's dirty. The officer looked away. Arthur turned toward the gallery, his voice carrying now. Some of you laughed when I walked in. That's fine. I've been laughed at my whole life. But I promise you, when you stop underestimating people because of where they stand, you'll see how quickly the ground can shift beneath you. Whitaker cleared his throat. Mr. Brooks, it appears the city owes you considerable respect, and perhaps back payments. Arthur shook his head. I don't want their money. I want a legally binding agreement that this courthouse and the land it sits on will remain a public institution, free from private sale or political leverage. And I want Officer Grayson reassigned to community outreach. Grayson blinked. What? You've got strength, Arthur said, but it's wasted on intimidation. I think you'd learn more by serving meals at the shelters you've never stepped into. Whitaker's brows lifted. An unconventional request, but within your rights as property owner. Grayson started to protest, but the judge silenced him with a raised hand. So ordered. The gavel struck once. Arthur placed the mop against the wall, unbuttoned his work shirt, and revealed a plain black t-shirt beneath. Without the uniform, he seemed taller somehow, his shoulders broader. I won't be coming back here as your janitor, he said quietly, but I'll still be cleaning messes. The clerk handed him the signed agreement. Arthur folded it neatly, tucking it into his pocket. As he walked toward the doors, the gallery rose to its feet, not in applause, but in a solemn, almost reverent silence. To the threshold, Arthur paused and looked back one last time. His eyes met Grayson's. Remember, Mops don't just clean floors. They wipe away the footprints of those who thought they'd walk over you forever. He stepped out into the sunlight, the heavy courthouse doors swinging shut behind him.